Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Rafae Iqbal, and in today's show we'll be talking about reviving economy, the Iran-Pakistan. It's a 5-year homegrown economic plan that was presented. As 2024 comes to a close, Pakistan finds itself on a promising economic trajectory, defying numerous challenges. The stock market has been performing exceptionally well. The inflation rate has come down to a single digit, the monetary policy rate has come down, and of course an extended fund facility was agreed upon with the IMF. Economic reforms are also being undertaken by the government, and of course these reforms are aimed at the taxation reform, digitization and privatization, which of course the government, the cabinet ministers have talked about time and time again, and of course efforts are underway to undertake these reforms. Today a framework was presented which was called the Iran-Pakistan, of course, framework, which was presented by the Planning Minister Iqbal and focused on the 5 E's, which are namely exports, e-Pakistan, equity and empowerment, environment and energy. The Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also addressed the ceremony and emphasized on this roadmap and said no politics is above national interest and Charter of Economy is need of the hour. Of course, in regards to that, we have seen that the government's prudent policies have led to, of course, all the economic indicators pointing towards a positive trajectory and the increased foreign direct investment that is coming into the country as well. And of course, with regards to the SIFC that we're seeing as different sectors are being capitalized upon now. We'll be deliberating on all the different aspects regarding Pakistan's journey to economic revival. In the studios, we've been joined by senior analyst Farrukh Pitafi. Along with that, we've been joined by geopolitical analyst Faisal, and on phone line, we've been joined by Dr. ABID SULERI, who is an economic expert. Thank you all for your time and being part of the conversation. Starting off from Dr. ABID. Sir, Pakistan's journey to economic stability, how do you comment on that as 2024 comes to a close?
Well, one compares the achievements of 2024 with 2022 or 2023. Of course, there's a marked improvement, and macroeconomic stability is there when one looks at the foreign exchange reserves, when one looks at the inflation, when one looks at the interest rate, and this current account surplus, the gap in fiscal deficits. All of them, they are quite good domain, and it shows that this policy consistency and these sticking to whatever the government had committed with the IMF, that is actually paying off. Likewise, SIFC's intervention when dollar was increasing and rupee was depreciating with every passing day, that has actually helped to contain this unnatural increase in exchange rate. Rupee is stable, hovering around 275 to 80 rupees per dollar for the last almost 18 months now, which is again a positive news because it brings certainty in the economy. And I think to add topping on all of this, that was the news of this week, whereby one saw that finally government and opposition party, they decided to negotiate, and irrespective of what the outcome would come from these negotiations, at least again, as we are saying goodbye to year 2024, I think it's another good omen that the political parties, they have understood the importance of political stability, and this political stability is now required to capitalize upon all the achievements of 2024. And of course, with 2025, there are some other factors that would affect our economy, but this is the roundup of 2024. Now, if you like, you would like me to also explain my thesis on 2025. I think in 2025, the economic performance and economy, that would depend on at least 5 factors, some internal, some external. The first external factor is the IMF's review, which would take place in February, March 2025. We know we are falling short on some quantitative indicators and targets, and that would depend if in the next 2 months, if government of Pakistan can achieve those targets or can negotiate buying some time. So IMF's attitude towards Pakistan, I think that would be the first determining factor for 2025. The second one is, which is quite linked to it, is our relation with the next U.S. administration. We know that America is an important member of IMF Executive Board, and our relation with the next administration, that would define how IMF Executive Board would look at our shortcomings and whether they would give us any waiver, whether they would give us any flexibility to complete those targets, or they will link the release of next tranche with some budgetary measures that will be presented in June 2025. The third factor on my list is climate change. We are very lucky in 2024. We had a comparatively peaceful monsoon, but God forbid any extreme weather event that can actually ruin the year's long performance, economic performance, as we saw back in 2022 with the floods. So the third factor that would impact our economic performance, our economy, is the climate change and our preparedness to it. And the fourth and very important, which is linked to it, is an opportunity that comes from China, and that is the green technology and green innovation. Now, with the tariffs and restrictions on Chinese export to EU and US and Canada, there is an opportunity because China would be selling its solar energy panels, its EVs, its green technologies to East Asia, to South Asia, and to Africa. And Pakistan has got this opportunity not only as a consumer, but also as someone who can get benefit from this technology transfer. And I think in 2025, we need to focus on this green economy from China. And my final point is this political stability, which is extremely important for creating all sort of certainties in the economy. And as I said, that to me, the most important news for 2024 is that finally the government and opposition, they agreed to start their negotiations.
Right. Dr. Zab, I'm glad that you see some measure of macroeconomic stability. Today, we were listening to the Prime Minister, who actually spoke about the need to reduce the cost of imports and then lift the bans also. But the Finance Minister also spoke about the boom and bust cycle in which Pakistan seems to have been trapped. Now the question is, do you have any thoughts on how to escape that boom and bust cycle? Because every time we are, as Finance Minister pointed out, we cross 4% growth, we end up importing more, and then there is balance of payment crisis and we have to go back to the institutions. Do you have any remedy for that kind of a situation?
Yeah, that remedy can only come with this flow of dollars, either from exports or from bilateral development partners or remittances or loans. So these are the four ways one can get dollars in a country. Now, as I said, that this February-March review is important because if due to any reason, if IMF linked the release of next tranche with the budgetary measure, it would mean that the tranche that we will be receiving, we are supposed to receive in March, that would get delayed until mid-June when the budgets are presented and approved in the parliament. And that 3 months' time, that would be critical. So that is the first risk, in my opinion. And to overcome it, of course, we need to decrease our cost of doing business. In order to decrease our cost of doing business, we need to improve the cost of energy. And right now, this cost of energy can be improved by switching to green energy, provided we can take care of capacity payment charges. So the conundrum and the dilemma right now that one is facing, that if we shift en masse to solar energy, that would have extremely negative impact on capacity payment charges. So on one hand, government needs to negotiate with IPPs and try to somehow reduce the burden of capacity payment charges. And on the other hand, government needs to adopt this clean and green energy and new technologies, which will in turn give us some competitive edge in our export that can earn us dollar, and we can avoid this boom and bust cycle. And the very last point in this regard is containing our own expenditures. We have also seen that apart from increasing revenue and reducing fiscal deficit through various measures, we are still not able to reduce government expenditures. And those expenditures also need to be reviewed and reduced so that we can have some sort of balance in our income and in our spending, at least for next couple of years while we are in the IMF program, so that we can establish strong foundations to take off after the program is over.
Yeah. Dr. Abid, there is a question about privatization. Obviously, we know and we have been hearing about the echoes of privatization of PIA as well. But looking at the current situation, very recently, the ban on PIA for Europe, it has been lifted, and it is a new sigh of relief for PIA. In this context, still we need to privatize it, or we can, of course, make it beneficial?
I think this lifting up of ban will only make it attractive for privatization. If we say that PIA was non-profitable in loss or was unmanageable due to just this ban on European routes, that would be a wrong assumption. We know there is a lot more what is wrong with the PIA. The previous attempts to privatize it, they failed, and especially the most recent one, because of this ban. No investor would invest in an international airline that cannot fly directly towards the most profitable routes. So perhaps this changing scenario would make it possible to fetch some reasonable amount for privatization. But if we say that it would turn around the PIA, I think that would be over-optimistic, and we need to privatize it with this improved scenario.
Earlier, Dr. Saab, you were saying that government needs to actually cut cost. I understand that divesting SOEs will be an important milestone. But apart from that, when you look at the government expenditure, it doesn't seem to be that much compared to our number one expenditure, and that is debt retirement. Is there any plans to actually take care of that matter also? Because no matter how much cost cutting you do, in the end you have to still repay humongous amounts to foreign debtors.
Perhaps not in 2025, but I think ultimately we would have to renegotiate our debt, reprofile them, especially the roll outs which are on annual basis from friendly countries, because annual basis rollout they still leave this uncertainty and this sword of unknown hanging on our economy. With the kind of debt we have to pay and the kind of rollovers that we have to assure every year, those are unsustainable, and I think sooner or later we need to think of negotiating with our bilateral partners to roll their deposits for at least 3 to 4 years, so that we can plan better, not in an ad hoc manner that we are planning now when it comes to debt retirement.
Dr. Abid, when we talk about the 5 E's which are highlighted in Uraan, Pakistan, how crucial the second E, which obviously is e-commerce and IT sector, is for the future of Pakistan?
It is extremely important, and I think this is the way to go. Fourth industrial revolution, the artificial intelligence, the use of IT, Internet of Things, blockchain, This is what would define economies from now onwards. In case of this plan, it's excellent, but then again, we need to balance our security needs of closing down certain apps vis-a-vis internet speed. And I think that's where we need to learn from China, we need to learn from UAE, from Saudi Arabia. So Pakistan is not the only country that want to restrict or contain certain apps. But these countries, they also restricting and the access to various apps without compromising on internet speed. So we need to bring in 5G, and 5G would only come if we have certainty on internet policy. We have seen a major coalition party, People's Party, is also talking about it. And I think there is no reason we shouldn't have some sort of very clear and transparent policy where we know that certain apps which are being used by anti-social or anti-state elements, the access to those apps should be restricted. But then we need to ensure that there is no uncertainty around internet bandwidth, internet speed, and internet blockage, because this blockage will never let us take off to the goals of e-commerce, which are envisioned in 5G's policies today.
Yeah, and Dr. Abid, even last time around when the 4G was introduced in Pakistan, I remember millions of dollars worth was actually made by the government in terms of from the cellular companies. They had actually paid millions of dollars to the government. So bringing 5G, it would be another aspect in which we can say that the government would have an opportunity to gain more in terms of monetary gains as well.
Haven't we, Dr. Saab, haven't we already sold the bandwidth for that? Wasn't there an auction?
Not yet. And huge investment is required in terms of infrastructure upgradation for 5G. Telcos are reluctant to make this investment, partly because of this disruption that I mentioned, internet blockage and internet disruption, and partly the bad experience of 2022 when due to this foreign exchange reserves shortfall, many of the multinationals, they were not able to pay back their dividend. Now, as we have now improved macroeconomic indicators, we were able to pay the dividends, and multinationals, they actually repatriated their dividends to their headquarters. So that fear is over. Now I think government needs to give assurance on this continuity and consistency of internet availability so that telcos, they can invest. Otherwise, they are reluctant to invest in 5G.
Right. Dr. Saab, I understand when it comes to infrastructure, but I distinctly recall the spectrum auction in which two licensees actually won. One was Zong and the other one was Jazz. Do you remember that, or are we going to actually do it again?
I think the previous one, it could never materialize. The amount asked, there was some disagreement on it. And that's why we will have to have this 5G auction in 2025. Actually, Shahzad Khaja, the IT minister, she announced it last month that Pakistan is now ready to auction the 5G broadband.
Right. Moving towards comments from Raja Faisal, but before that, Dr. ABID QAIYUM SULERI, thank you for your time and being part of the conversation. Your insights are always appreciated. Raja Faisal, since we talked about, of course, we talked about internet, we talked about, of course, how in e-Pakistan, we also, of course, export a lot of services. Do you think human resource development, of course, we export services, we export labor, but they're not as good as finished products, they're not value-added services. Do you think more work needs to be done and collaborations need to be made with international partners so as to, because the country has a huge youth bulge, but of course, we need to capitalize on that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Rafae. And obviously, when we talk about in the current circumstances, I mean, we shouldn't be forgetting this, that Pakistan has been exporting the, manpower to the Middle Eastern countries basically in past. and we know that the skills they have been provided to the people who have been going into Middle Eastern countries for their projects. We should be proactive this time around as well. We shouldn't be forgetting that Middle Eastern countries, especially UAE, Qatar and Saudi Arabia, especially Saudi Arabia's Neom city, it is a huge opportunity for Pakistan as well, because Pakistanis, they are known to be immune to that kind of environment, working within Saudi Arabia in past as well. So there is a huge opportunity for Pakistan.
You're talking about harsh weather conditions? Well, Neom is not harsh.
Not harsh at all, but it's a sort of Farrukh, the cultural values as well. It's just like a second home for Pakistanis. So that's why if they are, it's quite easier for them to cope with the kind of work, kind of weather, and of course the environment out there, the work environment and everything. And when it comes to Rafae, the skill development, I mean, me and Farrukh both have time and again highlighted this, that we need to improve it further, because if we talk about the
you're talking about our skills or somebody else's, by the way.
No, the human resource. Okay. The human resource we have been sending to,
because you included me in this, so I wanted to clarify.
Yeah. So what happens is, Rafae, we have to, of course, improve the mechanism through which we enable our human resource to be equipped with the modern requirements of the work ethics and of the technical requirements of how the work should be carried out. And there are different courses which Pakistan has already been providing to its human resource, but it needs to be improved. It needs to be in alliance with the modern techniques, modern requirements. And I think that needs to be done so that we can further enhance our capacity of generating more and more workforce for these destinations in the Middle East, and we shouldn't be forgetting about the Western countries as well. And for the future concerns, of course, and we have already lost on it. We should have been working on this since a long time. That is the IT sector. In the IT sector, as Farrukh rightly pointed out yesterday as well, that of course when we talk about Indian universities, they were very proactive in this, that they enabled their students to be up to the par, in which after getting them IT related skills, they've been easily accepted in the Western world. I'm not degrading our own universities, but here I would like to say that there are certain aspects in our universities that they need to improve the standards in terms of our degrees, and that can be further accepted in the Western world as well. And we have a huge market in the IT sector, in the artificial intelligence, in the emerging technologies. There are students who are working day and night, and there are still students from Pakistan in the IT field that keep on surprising the whole world. And we shouldn't be forgetting that even our kids, like 8, 9-year-old or 10-year-old kids, they are so proactive in the IT sector that if they are further provided with the opportunities of learning more, they can of course do wonders. So Pakistan has capacity in this side as well, and you rightly pointed out that Pakistan has a huge youth bulge, and nearly 67% of the youth we're talking about of Pakistan, and that can make a difference. If somebody from Pakistan goes into Western countries or the Middle Eastern countries and provides their own services in their country, then that means they would be sending and increasing Pakistan's foreign remittances as well. And even if somebody sitting in Pakistan is attached with the IT sector, is working in the IT sector, of course that too is a source of increasing the remittances. And we shouldn't be forgetting that Pakistan is a country that mainly relies upon the agriculture sector, but at the same time the second largest intake we get is from the foreign remittances, and that of course needs to be improved, needs to be increased, And time and again, when we talk about Pakistan's needs in terms of economy right now, we have to focus on, of course, increasing the volume of our economy. And when we talk about increasing the volume of the economy, I mean, Prime Minister rightly pointed out that we have to shrink our imports, and we have to increase our exports.
No, not shrink. But they have to actually lift the ban from imports. But exports have to increase.
Exports have to increase, and the balance we always talk about, import-export balance, that needs to be fixed for a country like Pakistan. And I think that's the way forward. IT sector and human resource sector, it can be crucial for Pakistan's future.
Definitely. Speaking about IT and of course the of course element of the commerce, for Pitafi, we know IT is not the only sector that of course is being outsourced. When we talk about Pakistan's IT sector, a lot of companies in the Western countries, they outsource their work to Pakistani companies. And of course, when we talk about this, there's another field such as e-commerce, which also focuses on such kind of outsourcing. When we talk about drop shipping, we talked about the China model. We know that this model, the e-commerce model, it flourished very well in China. Considering that, do you think there should be more improvements made on Pakistan's e-commerce sector, considering that, of course, we have transit trade with Afghanistan going on, we have with our efforts being put in for regional connectivity, which could further boost Pakistan's efforts in the region?
Right. Thank you very much for the question. I was silently, through my brain power, trying to will you not to change the question, because I wanted to actually add to what Faisal was saying.
Well, you can also add to that.
Yeah, that didn't work. Telepathy doesn't work. But, you came this close to not changing it, but then you did. So I'm going to actually first, just to clarify, Faisal, India's IITs, although there's IT in the name, but they are institutes of technology. And they were established by somebody called Nehru. And since then, they have been going from strength to strength. In 1990s, actually, their talent was spotted repeatedly. Microsoft started, and then other people started spotting that as well. And they have great gifts. Our problem in the past 25 years, of course, you wouldn't remember, Rafae. I think you were busy being born at that time. But in late 90s, there was a huge hubbub about GKI, Ghulam Isa Khan Institute, right? Similarly, LUMS is a great gift that keeps giving. It is amazing. Similarly, Aga Khan University in Karachi and NUST, of course. But our biggest problem has been not being able to replicate the same model to other places. What has happened is mushrooming of substandard, excuse me, certificate churning institutions, right? Because of that, even Pasha's office bearers, the organization that is Software Developers Association, they have been complaining that people that they get are subpar. Why would that be? Because we are not focusing on quality enhancement, right? Without that, you cannot have anything. Remember, a country like Pakistan can export whatever it wants, but at this moment, what we are exporting, the labor we are exporting is Rafae, mostly plumbers, electricians, and similar kind of people, right? When it comes to chemical engineers, when it comes to mechanical engineers, Indian people go to everywhere. So hierarchy is different. Officers are them. We are usually laborer class, and that is really disheartening. We have to work on this, and we have to enhance the quality of our education, because I cannot accept that India has so many gifts, and we practically the same racial stock cannot have the same kind of gifts, right? How can that be possible? The only thing is premium on these issues. I gave you example yesterday. America is debating H-1B visa, the short-term technical visa given to highly skilled technocrats. India walks away with 320,000 per annum. And do you know how many Pakistanis get? Piddling 1,000, and that is the maximum. So why would that be? It is not merely Indian entrepreneurs want Indian people, it is because you haven't made the mark. So we have to actually work on it. This is a great age. Everything that you can do, AI will be your co-pilot. In that situation, you can innovate, you can get patents, you can really rock the world. The only thing is, youth bulge is all good, but it can be the worst liability of the country if the youth is not educated and it is not employed. So we need to, in order to actually enhance the, and by the way, we have only 5 to 10 years window. Why? Because AI and automation are very quickly catching up, and they are already displacing so many people in so many jobs. Amazon stores and Apple stores have started using machines instead of people actually who are going to actually on the cash counters and scanning and all, right? With that kind of a situation, if we lose, if we snooze, we lose, and we lose badly. So we have to instill the skill, and believe me, at this time, even an artist, if they are properly trained, even a poet, even a person who can write a good story, they will have great market, provided they have the right kind of skills. And I don't talk about anybody else. I talk about myself. A few years ago, I just thought that everybody is talking about Python, that is, or R+, and these are languages which are needed for AI. And I just enrolled in an online course. It was spare time, and I just learned it like anything, right? Similarly, I had difficulty understanding what Indians are writing. I taught myself Hindi, and I'm now proficient. So if I can do it, I'm sure I'm an aging guy. Younger people like you will have much more advantages. Now let us talk about your question, and that is e-commerce. Of course, e-commerce's actual window was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Now it is petering out. But even then, there is no dearth of opportunity in this country. You can enhance everything, because now, because everything is not only Internet 1.0, remember websites.coms, then APK came, and it was Internet 2.0. Now we are between 3.0 and 4.0, Internet of Things.
Yes.
Where when you have more skill and understanding of ecosystem, you can really, really create an environment that will bring in as much cash as you want. The only problem is, I keep on looking for Pakistan's Silicon Valley, and we haven't been able to geographically situate it. Right? There is a software park in Islamabad, but have you been there? I've been there. I couldn't find much. You will have to, ask VCs, venture capitalists, to really be there and ensure that if somebody has a patent, if somebody has a working prototype of anything, they should immediately be given the kind of investment that is needed. If we have that, we are made. If we snooze, as I keep on saying, we are going to lose bigly.
That brings me to another question, and I'd like comment from Faisal first before you, for Pitafi, about considering that we need innovation, we need, of course, we need to market and brand, of course, our own products. Do you think, of course, a viable solution to this innovation and thinking out of the box would be a model like the Shark Tanks, and of course, getting sponsors for the innovation that the youth of the country are bringing forth?
Yes, Rafae, and first of all, I wanted to actually highlight about the Silicon Valley. I mean, it is my dream as well one day that I see a Silicon Valley type of city, exclusive city for the IT, AI and emerging technologies, where all of these IT engineers, where all of these IT investors, where all of these IT industry people who are facilitated there. And that city, I see it as we have a huge coastline, and we can have that kind of city on a coastline. We need to make these kind of very new cities where we can say that these are the 21st century cities of Pakistan, in which of course all of these IT people are getting facilitated, and that is a dream that can be of course possible in coming future if there is more work done on this sector. And of course when we talk about innovation, of course when we talk about thinking out of the box, Pakistan has the rich brains, and Pakistan's youth, of course it can create a difference. I mean, even talking about this aspect, that in today's world, I mean, I encounter many of my friends since recent times. I have been getting their calls. They have their own websites, they have their own, because they believe in entrepreneurship. Living in abroad, they are doing other businesses as well, but at the same time they have for certain products they have created their website, and what they want from Pakistan is that even they know that there are very good people in Pakistan on ground who can help them with the e-marketing, and that e-marketing and setting the parameters and how it gets up in the Google search bars and all of that. This is what they require, and it's, I mean, there are students who are studying in the universities, they are IT students, and they are doing it, and they are earning around 50 to 70,000 rupees Pakistanis, I'm talking about. While studying they are earning, and there are skills, there are people who think out of the box, and they have created their jobs even before finishing their graduation, taking the graduation ceremony, and they have started their own works. So there are people who know how to work. It's just there is something that lacks. Is in past, of course, we know that when it comes to equipping people with the right knowledge, equipping people with the right way to do the things. In a country like Pakistan, I remember before the SIFC, there was like multi-window operations. At every window they will be going through, and then if there is a business, then it would require certain NOCs, and they would be looking for them NOCs. I think with the SIFC, it has gone very easier for people to go through it, and I think it needs to further get some ease. It's like Rafae, when I was in England at that time, even I made a company as well, and the address I gave, it wasn't an industrial estates address, it wasn't an address of a business. It's entirely up to you. You can just simply give your home address for it, and you'll get the mail there, and you don't need to ask somebody to come to your office. You can simply meet, if there are meetings you want to attend and you want to have somebody to meet you, you can simply ask them to come to a cafe or a store, and then you can meet them there rather than. So it's the ease of business.
Definitely.
Why? Because as long as you are contributing in the economy of that society, they welcome it and they want you to do it, because that's how the volume of the economy gets increased. When every individual is having a thought of being an entrepreneur and wants to invest in terms of his energies, in terms of his brain, in terms of his whatever the money he has to earn more money, and that's how an economy can be increased. Same we need to do in Pakistan as well. And I would further say that, as Dr. Abid earlier was mentioning about, that we need to improve our internet services as well. Yes, there are few websites, yes, there are few apps that needs to be, of course, capped on. That can be there, but at the same time, I think there is no harm in providing people with excellent services and further increasing the services and enhancing the services for people when it comes to internet, Wi-Fi's and all of that. And in that context, I'm telling you, people at large can make a huge difference, and things can get better.
Definitely. Farrukh Pitafi, of course, your quick remarks. We talked about the economic journey is in 2024, but entering 2025, What are your quick remarks?
All right. How quick?
3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. I
Precisely
thought that
4.
within, I thought within 1 minute I have to
No, no, 4
actually wrap
minutes.
up. You know, there used to be a basketball coach who actually shifted to business and became a success story. His name was, I believe, Art Williams. And he used to say something very interesting. Dream big, keep it simple, right? Till the time you have rational steps before you, you can achieve anything. In order to be a billionaire, what do you need? Either to sell something 1 billion times, or then to be close or be trusted by some billionaire who can entrust you with that kind of money. Pakistan's biggest problem is execution. Fortunately, since this army chief came, since this prime minister came, things have improved. But 6 years before that, there was something that was going on, and it was very funny. Every time a finance minister would establish himself, somebody would veto him and change him. So our economy kept on porpoising and kept on coming down and down. Now, luckily, we have some measure of stability. Keep the same finance minister, keep the same policies. Follow up is important. Focus on execution, execution, execution. Remember earlier, Faisal was talking about cities, and then he spoke about coastal belt. I don't know what IT has to do with the, water. I don't think Silicon Valley was known for silicon. That is why people actually established there. You can put it up anywhere in the country. But Gwadar, one city that we were trying to establish, go there. But despite whatever development that the government has done or the Chinese have done, it is still a ghost town. You have to start building a city there, right? Similarly, if you actually are dreaming something, enough talk, enough selling, overselling it. Focus on execution and fulfilling the dreams that you have actually committed to. I'm sure we can work wonders if we want to. And for that, of course, I'm not going to say we need political stability. We need this government, we need this team, both in Pindi and Islamabad.
Yeah, and Rafae, before you head towards the ending, from my side to all of our viewers, Happy New Year.
Definitely.
And may the new year brings the more happiness for you.
Yay, another year.
Definitely, and that's all that we have from the debate for today. It's almost just a little over an hour till New Year, and till it hits 12, and of course we enter the year 2025. As Farrukh Pitafi mentioned, continuity of policies, implementation, and of course effective implementation, which is the way forward. Thank you both of you gentlemen for your time. Mr. Farrukh Pitafi, Senior Analyst, and Geopolitical Analyst Raja Faisal. See you same time tomorrow. Till then, take care.